John from Ripewave Audio for this August 15th, 2024 edition of Ripewave Connections. And for this segment, we're going to talk about streamers and what's going on with them. There's media streamers, network music players, streaming DACs, streaming amplifiers. We're going to see what we're going to do with that in the future. But before that, we're going to go through our mail and the comments you're putting in, and this will bring us a little closer than just those text responses that I've entered. One of the comments came in with an older video from August of 2022 where we were going over a lot of different amplifier companies and their products. And we did cover Rotel. And this individual was saying, hey, he owns an RB1582 Mark II, and he had several reasons why he selected that product. Driving Magnepans, they need more power. So a simple 70 watts per channel you get out of a lot of your receivers is probably not going to be enough to drive them. He was aiming for 200 watts and thought that would be ideal power for these special speakers. And he also was auditioning against Krell amplifier. And it sounded okay, but when he put this other amp on, it really brought it to life, and it happened to be the Rotel amplifiers. And what he's pointing out here is the design philosophy, the separate power supplies for two channels, and something that Harman Kardon was doing in the 70s, transformers for each channel, giving you ultra-wide bandwidth, exceptional transient response, high current capability, low transient intermodulation, distortion, among these things that it was known for. I think this is a very thoughtful purchase. The gentleman obviously wanted to make sure that he had the right amount of power for speakers that needed it. And, I thank him for his testimony here. And I do agree. Power supplies can make the difference in an amplifier. And having separate power supplies is certainly going to work towards that. It's going to bring that experience to a higher level. And if you have those difficult to drive speakers, the amps become all that more important. Now some feedback for our video from yesterday, the Ripewave Connections video. One of the first comments we got back was they're looking to see what's coming from Emotiva, their Plus series. These processors. Now, Emotiva has been known for delivering lower cost processors. So hopefully they're going to continue on that vein, lower cost, but still high performance. We have the RMC1 here. They're hoping to move it to 4 subwoofers. Currently, the RMC1 supports 3 at the most, depending on your configuration. And I'm in line to get one of these. And so hopefully we'll be on that list to get an early copy of an RMC1 Plus. This just reminds me I got to get in touch with them to see where they're at and see when I could get one for my evaluation. So hopefully it will come out this year. And then we got another suggestion from the same individual to look at it for IOTA. So the IOTA AVX17 came out in 2021. So thinking about maybe an update from them, but I haven't heard anything as of yet, but we're going to monitor it. Also wanted to know how to communicate with us through email. Of course, you can use the ripewaveaudio@gmail.com address, and that's a good way to get a hold of us directly for outside of the comments. And then on the next comment, again, looking for the next generation of products, but this time from Yamaha, and hoping that this will come soon. Glad he likes the new series. And I'm assuming these will be the B models. They talked about their naming convention. That's why you have the A8A. And they thought it would be easier for search engine optimization, everything, to just change the A to a B, and then most of the name stays the same so they don't lose all that built up presence in a search engine. This next comment came back on a discussion we've been having about Marantz versus Denon. Now, Marantz has their HDAM technology, and he was wondering, if I have a Denon, can I get closer to a Marantz using Dirac? And I gave some feedback on that. And he thought this guidance was good. And I also gave him guidance on zones as well. But we've gone on to talk now about the channels. So if you have something like an A1H from Denon, it has 15 channels of amplifiers, but not everybody has 15 channels that they need to power internally. So if you're not using them, he's wondering do we get some extra value here? So if you're only using 13 or 11 or 9 channels of that, does that direct more power to those channels? You get more headroom. And the answer is yes. The less channels that you're utilizing, the more that's available to the other speakers. And this is part why we always recommend, maybe powering your front speakers with external amps. And that offloads what is in your receiver to focus on those other channels. So good idea. I did call his attention to the Onkyo TX-RZ70. And this has a massive power supply in it, 1,095 watts, to power 11 channels. Now you compare that to the Denon A1H, and I looked up the specifications for that, and they said power consumption is 900 watts, but that's for 15 channels. So it would appear, even if you're fully populated, the Onkyo is going to have more headroom than the Denon. So at least on paper, that's the way it seems. So if you have some more feedback on that, that would be interesting. This comment is going back to our conversation on the A1H versus the Cinema 30. And this individual has direct experience. And they've auditioned both, and they said the Cinema 30 is more spacious and blends the channels a bit nicer. Denon's a bit more forward, has more bass, more punch, more clarity of sounds on the high end. But overall, they liked the Cinema 30 better for movies and thought it was more immersive. For music, it depends on the kind of music. So harder music may be better on the Denon. Of course, it comes down to personal preference. So this is great insight. The gentleman who started this conversation weighed in, and I think this is good. The more people who have had direct experience with this, if you can weigh in and give your opinions, the better picture we're going to have. And it takes all of our opinions to really understand differences between the two. So great discussion there. Now this person is writing in, they have an issue with video in their Marantz SR6015. And they started to get a pink screen. So this is a new condition that I take. You can still see the movie, but it looks a little pink. He turned off video conversion and got a clear picture, but he lost the on-screen display. And they're wondering what the issue could be. He's asking about, should I just change out the HDMI and hope it works? I think HDMI is a good place to start. Now, fortunately, the Marantz 6015 has onboard HDMI diagnostics. And if you're not familiar with this, I put a link in here. Now, I didn't find a Marantz link. This is a third-party link. I've got it in the comments, but it brings up their documentation, this diagnostics mode for HDMI. And it essentially, you create a loop back between input 7 on the HDMI port and monitor 1 out, and you put it into this mode, hitting the front panel display, and you work through the diagnostics. There's different tests. Here is a sample from that manual, but go through it. It shows in this particular manual all the products that are covered by this documentation. It's still present in the newer products. I actually think it's easier to run. I think they brought it more up front into the normal configuration menus on the diagnostics. So it's great that has that. So go through the troubleshooting of your HDMI cable. Once you have that testing out good, then see if you still get the pink screen. Good luck with that. I hope it's just the cable. That would be an easy fix. Then we got a comment back on the A1 Evo calibration, the script that can run in REW to calibrate your Odyssey-based Marantz or Denon product. And this individual is writing back. It's the same one that chimed in on another topic. They've been running it a month and it sounds amazing. They feel it's way better than the standard Odyssey and cheaper than going the Multi-EQ X. And you don't need to have all this knowledge to do manual corrections. The script does the work. So I think this is great. We got another vote of confidence for this tool. We definitely have to try this out for ourselves. And as I said in the last video, we got to get the Cinema 50 back before we can try this. Then we got the next comment saying, first, that they're enjoying this new Ripewave connections content. So glad that's working out for you. He is suggesting that we have a discussion, and he is a new Onkyo TX-RZ70 owner, to have a discussion of the best place in the home theater chain to place the Apple TV, pros and cons. And I think this is also includes whether to run the internal streaming apps or not. Glad he likes the new series. We do plan to cover external streaming options. No, not just Apple TV, but what else is out there? Now, if you've been following us in December of 2022, we did a video of who streams audio the best. Amazon Music, Apple Music, etc. It was at Roku and Fire TV, Wim, etc. So we did that video, but then we even came back in January to go about this in more depth because we brought in even more streaming devices to directly test it. And you can go back to those videos and see our findings. But what I'd like to do now, because it's more than just what we covered, that was more of an under $200 list. There are different types of devices. There's media streamers, and this is where something like a Wim Mini fits in. And this is kind of an entry-level device at $99. You step up to what they call a network music player. Now, what's really makes the difference between a media streamer and a network music player? Where do you really cross the line? What things? This is something I want to look into. When can you put that network music player tag on the device? They also call these things streaming DACs. We hear that term as well. But products that call themselves these names are things like the Blue Sound Node, a $500 device. And if you add a touchscreen to that, and there's several that are coming out now with a color touchscreen, and some are not touchscreen, but they just give a color display. But something like the Hi-Fi Rose RS150B, just under $5,000, adds a touchscreen. And then some have a preamp built in addition to having a color screen, like the Cambridge Audio Edge NQ, also about $5,000. And then you have streaming amplifiers that take a network music player and combine it with an integrated amp, like the NADC 368 Blue OS 2i at just under $1,000. And then we see Cambridge Audio putting a touchscreen on that for their integrated amp with streaming capabilities and calling it the Audio Evo 75 for $1,800. My question on all of these, and when we explore this, what I want to figure out is which ones support multi-channel output and not just two-channel outputs. Because it seems like when you get in this caliber device, they seem to be gearing it to two-channel music. Well, a lot of streaming services now, Apple Music for one, that I use every day, have immersive content. I want to be able to get that. And is there an HDMI output? Are you using this external device because it has a good DAC? Maybe. But then are you limited to two channels because of that? This is what I want to find out through this investigation. And there's one more variant on this. The all-in-one wireless streaming speaker. Cambridge Audio Evo 1. $1,500, has built-in speakers. So it has an amplifier. It has the touchscreen. It has the streaming support. Everything all in one. So this is what I want to sort out and get a picture of. Let me know if that type of analysis is going to be helpful to you. And that kind of wraps it up for today's session with Ripewave Audio Connections for this August 15th, 2024. What are your thoughts? If If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. You can hit that bell notification so you're informed when the next video is posted. Of course, that thanks button. We'd really appreciate if you hit the thanks button for a one-time donation. And the other thing that helps this channel, and as you watch these videos now, you'll see links pop up when we talk about a product if we have an affiliate link. Now that product's available at the same price as that store normally sells at, but I'll get a small commission off of that, and it does help the channel. So if you are interested in these products, hitting those affiliate links and whatever you buy in the cart during those sessions, we'll get a small commission off of that. So that would be helpful for me. So I hope to see you real soon. And until then, keep evolving your audio experience.